Look, this is a complete weaponization of justice and politicization to advance a narrative rather than protect the American citizenry. And as I told you in your office, I have no interest, no desire, and will not, if confirmed, go backwards. There will be no politicization at the FBI. There will be no retributive actions taken by any FBI should I be confirmed as the FBI director. And this is the focus of this FBI. We aren't about politics, and we're certainly not about weaponization. We're not chasing down our political enemies. We are holding those accountable to the American public that did weaponize it. That's not us weaponizing government. They are the hypocrites.
Hi again, everybody. It's now 5 o'clock in New York. Hypocrite is a fascinating word for Kash Patel to select, considering its source, an FBI director who not only promised under oath and in interviews that his agency and he would refrain from retaliating against targets of Donald Trump. It's been proven a lie, but also, as you just heard, insisted that the FBI would refrain from putting politics ahead of the health and safety and security of the American people. Quote, the complete weaponization of justice and politicization to advance a narrative rather than protect the American citizen. So again, we'll let you decide Kash Patel's use of the word hypocrite in evaluating the latest reporting from our MS Now colleague, Carol Leonnig, who writes this, quote, when FBI Director Kash Patel fired a dozen FBI agents and staff last week for their role in the classified documents investigation of Donald Trump, he targeted an elite counter-espionage unit that investigates threats from foreign adversaries and specializes in Iran. That's according to more than a half dozen sources with knowledge of the firings. The firings came as Kash Patel claimed without evidence that the team of FBI agents who investigated Donald Trump's hoarding of top-secret records at his Mar-a-Lago club had engaged in improper investigative steps. But his gutting of the global espionage unit, known as CI-12, also came days before Donald Trump launched Operation Epic Fury, a series of bombing strikes on Iran that killed the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. It's difficult to say which of the two possibilities is more disconcerting, really. That Kash Patel, the FBI director, didn't know that his government was about to carry out an attack that would necessitate an advanced focus, a real shoring up on protecting America and the homeland from retaliation inside his agency, or that Patel did know that the attack against Iran, the war was going to be started, and decided to fire those agents with that expertise anyway. What we do know is that as recently as yesterday, people inside the FBI were bracing for the possibility that Kash Patel would fire more FBI agents and staff on that elite counter-espionage unit that specializes in Iran. In response, an FBI spokesperson tells MS Now that the FBI does not comment on personnel matters, but maintains a, quote, robust counterintelligence operation with personnel all over the country. Again, this issue has nothing to do with the hardworking men and women of the FBI. It has everything to do with an FBI director who swore up and down that he would prioritize the safety of the American people over politics and weaponization before firing agents who dared to follow orders from above and investigate Donald Trump when our country needs them the most. If there's a word for that, hypocrite is the nice one. It's where we start the hour. Senior investigative reporter Carol Leonnig is here. We just read from her chilling reporting. Also joining us, former top DOJ official and former general counsel for the FBI, our legal analyst Andrew Weissman's here, and former assistant special agent in charge at the FBI, national security and intelligence analyst Michael Feinberg is here. Carol Leonnig, this is incredible. Take us through what you're reporting.
Well, Nicole, thanks for focusing a light on this. You know, there have been so many purges of FBI agents and staff that sometimes we can all get a little numb to that news. We report it dutifully. But in this case, in addition to roiling the FBI community by claiming that FBI agents who worked on the classified documents case involving Donald Trump had engaged in some sort of impropriety in obtaining phone records, this particular decision by FBI Director Kash Patel also gutted a unit based in Washington, D.C. that does a lot of different things, including classified records cases, including mishandling of sensitive national defense information, but also has an expertise in finding and intercepting threats from our foreign adversaries in the Middle East, particularly in Iran. And this really, you know, was kind of like the worst twofer, if you will, for people inside the FBI, sources of ours who reached out to us and said, you know, this is terrible that these people have lost their jobs. It also happens to be terrible for our efforts to really use the expertise that we had, veterans who really are seasoned investigators and know what these threats look like on American soil.
Carolyn, it's my understanding that Lisa Monaco, the deputy to Merrick Garland, that the threats were so dire after the strike that killed Soleimani and there was protection for former CIA Director Mike Pompeo, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, former Chairman of the Joint Chiefs Mark Milley, that it actually rose to her level, and she spent a lot of time on this, that the threat environment that existed when Donald Trump got there was as high as it could be. Just talk about how on top of that high level, how much more risk there is when you launch a war against Iran.
Well, I'm so glad you mentioned former Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, because I remember getting a copy of a memo that she had written in which she authorized an unusual, highly unusual tactic to interview a person who was believed to be an Iranian hitman, essentially, and to interview him without his lawyer based on emerging, constant, and possibly imminent threats to national security in America. This was in the early morning hours after Donald Trump was nearly assassinated as a candidate for office on the campaign trail. And so she has really had been focused on this issue in a dramatic way and believed it was essential to figure out whether this Iranian operative that was being monitored by undercover FBI agents, to figure out if that person had any knowledge of the attempt on Donald Trump's life when he was a candidate before winning re-election. As well, I would say that one of the key things we need to know about that individual, Asif Merchant, is he was just one of many Iranian operations spawned in the wake of that bombing you mentioned that killed General Soleimani. And now, if we're going to bomb and kill the Ayatollah and several other senior leaders in Iran, I'm no expert, but you can only imagine, if past is prologue, how many more operations are going to be launched to harm Trump and to harm who else knows in America.